On the surface, this looks like one of those nothing to see here weeks. Week 18. Everyone's staring at the standings like that's the whole story. But if you've actually watched the Chargers this season, you already know what this really is. The runway into January, where one smart choice can save you, and one wrong choice can cost you. And today, 4 signals popped up that all point to the same thing: how this team is trying to set itself up for the wild card. There's a rest decision that sounds boring until you realize what it's protecting. There's a massive name, literally massive, that just hit the market at the exact moment the offensive line is hanging on by a thread. There's a playoff matchup coming into focus that would be electric. And there's an internal comment that feels like a hint about what's next for this roster. All right, if you're riding with Bolt Fam, hit like, subscribe for daily Chargers talk, and drop your take in the comments as we go, because I already know people are going to disagree on this. So let's start with the one everyone keeps calling meaningless. Week 18 doesn't mean much on paper for the Los Angeles Chargers. They're already locked into a wild card spot, and it's become clear they plan to rest their starters. I get why that rubs fans the wrong way, because resting starters here would basically hand the 1 seed to the Denver Broncos. That feels like giving away control. But this is where playoff math beats pride. You don't win January by proving something in Week 18. You win January by having your best players actually ready when the games stop forgiving mistakes. And this team has been banged up. You've seen it. Guys grinding through snaps, making it work. In January, 1 late rotation, 1 missed fit, 1 shoulder that's not right. That's the difference between forcing a punt and giving up points. So the rest plan could pay off big. It's not only about giving Justin Herbert a breather. It's not only about taking some load off Kamani Vidal. It's about buying time for the whole operation to reset so the Chargers hit the wild card round sharper than they'd be after another full-speed week. And for Herbert, it's not just resting an arm. It's resting decision speed. It's resting accuracy under stress. The pocket won't be clean in a playoff game. The calls won't go perfectly. The quarterback who stays calm and precise when it's messy is the one who survives. But the biggest part of this rest week might not even be the offense. It might be the back end of the defense. R.J. Mickens is trending in the right direction, and it looks like he's on a path to be fully healthy for the wild card round. That matters because Mickens has been one of the Chargers' most impactful pieces in the secondary this season. His return isn't just nice to have. It changes how you can call a game, how you can disguise coverages, and how aggressive you can be without getting exposed. And remember what the Chargers did earlier this season. They made a massive gamble by swapping 6th-year safety Alohi Gilman for edge rusher Odafe Owe, trusting Mickens to keep building on what they saw early in his rookie year. So far, it's paid off. Mickens stepped into the starting safety role alongside Elijah Molden with real ease. He's posted 17 tackles and played a big share of the defensive snaps since the move. And per Pro Football Focus, he ranks 23rd among the 98 safeties with enough snaps to earn an overall grade this season. Then the bad part. The Chargers have been without him the past 2 weeks after he suffered a shoulder injury in Week 15 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Tony Jefferson has done a solid job filling in, but the secondary is simply better when all 3 primary safeties are available. Communication, flexibility, matchups, all of it. So when Mickens goes from not practicing at all last week before the Houston Texans game to logging a limited practice on Wednesday, that's not just an injury report note. That's a pulse. It's a sign he's moving toward being ready when it actually counts. And there's almost no chance the team rushes him back for a game against Denver that doesn't change the Chargers' playoff reality. If he's coming back, it's for January. Because the way Week 18 is shaping up, the Chargers' most likely wildcard opponent is the New England Patriots, one of the league's premier passing offenses, tied with the Seattle Seahawks for first in net yards per passing attempt. If Los Angeles is going to win a playoff game, the defense has to carry weight on the biggest snaps, and having Mickens back could be the difference between surviving drives and ending them. Now, while people are still trying to digest the rest decision, another move started bubbling up and split the Bolt fam in minutes. The offensive line has been battered all year. Left guard and center have been the only spots with consistency, while the other 3 have been a revolving door. And then, Out of nowhere, Baltimore drops a familiar name into the market. The Baltimore Ravens released Ben Cleveland, their former third-round pick from the 2021 draft. Cleveland has been a career backup, with his most snaps coming as a rookie, 376 snaps at left guard. He's also a massive human being, 6'6", 357 pounds. Coming out, he was expected to thrive in a power run blocking scheme. It never turned into more than a backup role. So why would the Chargers care? Familiarity and timing. Joe Ortiz came up through the Ravens and was there through the 2023 season. The staff has Baltimore ties all over. Greg Roman, Jesse Minter, Chad Alexander, plus the Harbaugh connection, with John Harbaugh running that sideline. Ortiz was the Ravens' director of player personnel when Cleveland was drafted, and Baltimore expected him to be their starting left guard as a rookie. Cleveland also played in Roman's offense for the first 2 years of his career, and he started as a rookie next to Bradley Bozeman. And the Chargers are thin. If starting right guard Mekhi Becton is too injured to play, you're talking about plugging Trevor Penning into the lineup. Then suddenly you've got no real backup at either guard spot for meaningful snaps. A guy like Cleveland could, in theory, step in right away. But the reasons to hesitate are real. Cleveland has not been a good player so far in his career. The lack of lateral agility shows up, and his limitations can be loud. And there's the off-field issue. He was arrested earlier this year for driving under the influence, pleaded guilty in November, and that guilty plea led to a 3-game suspension from the NFL. He's eligible to come off that suspension this week, and the Ravens still chose to release him. So the timing forces a tough choice. Every roster spot is precious this close to the playoffs, and the Chargers have historically avoided players with off-field question marks. So I'll ask it like this. Is it worth using a playoff roster spot on size and system familiarity, even with limitations and baggage? Or do you trust Becton to hold up, trust Penning if needed, and live with almost no margin behind it? Now zoom out again, because all of this feeds the same reality. With so many starters resting, the wildcard matchup is becoming clearer. If things go the predictable way, the Chargers are headed for the New England Patriots, trying to earn their first playoff win since 2018. And CBS Sports' Zachary Perrellas even ranked Chargers-Patriots second among the wild card matchups he'd be most excited to see, because it's the kind of quarterback duel that sells itself. Justin Herbert versus Drake May is pure theater. May is a serious MVP candidate. 4,203 passing yards on a 71.7% completion rate, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, after a Pro Bowl rookie year. He's lifted a shaky roster into real Super Bowl contention. Herbert's been one of the league's best too, even if the spotlight's been dimmer. 3,727 yards on 66.4% completion, 26 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. And it's not just the quarterbacks. The Chargers' defense has been one of the best units in the league over the back half of the season, and the Patriots' dynamic offense might be the biggest test they've faced all year. On the other side, New England's run defense has struggled without Milton Williams. If he doesn't return, that could open a clear advantage for Los Angeles. Which is why the last note today matters more than it looks. The Chargers have poured first-round resources into the offensive line with mixed results. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt have both been excellent when they're on the field. But the 2022 first-round pick, Zion Johnson, has had a choppy ride. In 2025, though, it's been a step in the right direction, and the staff finally said it out loud. Zion came in with the best guard in the class label. Smart, strong anchor, versatile run-blocking power. As a rookie, he started at right guard and played over 1,000 snaps, giving the Chargers steady play. In year 2, he moved to left guard, played over 1,000 snaps again, and the growth didn't really show, especially with stunt identification and communication. Year 3 didn't fix it, and he gave up a career-high 7 sacks per PFF. So 2025, year 4, third year at the same spot, second year under Greg Roman, was do or die, especially with contract talks coming early because of the decline in his fifth-year option. The 2025 PFF grades haven't been spectacular, but his run game work has been key, and his pass protection has been better in one-on-one reps and in stunt identification, even with a rotating cast next to him at left tackle. And Roman praised him, saying, "All that devotion on his part has paid off. I think he's playing the best football of his career. That's a loud hint about how the Chargers view him heading into the offseason. So that's where we're at. The Chargers protecting health. A key defensive piece trending back. An offensive line question with Ben Cleveland sitting right in the middle of it. A potential Patriots matchup that's must watch. And a contract tea leaf moment with Zion Johnson. Now drop your answer. What worries you more right now? The idea of giving Denver an edge in the standings? Or the idea of going into January with the offensive line still one snap away from chaos?